Let's hope I hit the clay in there right. Well, that was quite a good hit. That wasn't a bad hit, was it? Oh yeah, and the usual. Let me put it back in there. Fell out, so just pop it back in. Hold it. Maybe. The experiment I've done here is just to verify that clay is a good measure of energy, because this is a good measure of energy even by Gary's standards. 4 times mass is an accurate measure of 4 times the energy of one of these, even by Gary's standards, because I've just multiplied the weight 4 times. Yes, even Gary would agree with that. Right, that went okay, didn't it then? Okay, so there we go. That one is going to be a quarter of the volume of that. So from quarter of the height of that, and then a quarter of the mass of that, okay? From the same height, okay? So those two are from the same height. I've just multiplied the mass by 4 there. 25.4 degrees C. Hello. I want to repeat Gary's clay experiments yet again. Let's take advantage of climate change. Yesterday being one of the hottest days that we've had for a while. Detecting the ambient temperature at the moment to be 25.18 degrees C. The previous measurements for these clays were, for the soft, that was previously, when I did it a month ago, 20.37 degrees C. The hard one was 20.34. And the medium one was 20.21. So they're all just over 20 degrees C. Okay, let's stick that in the clay now and see what it is. I'll do the top one first, okay. 25.76. Anyway, 25.73. In the meantime, while I'm looking for my pen, I'll just go on to the medium one now. Okay, I've got 25.9 then. Oh, I've also included, in case Gary wants to know, compass reading. You never know with the idea when I do these tests. So that's due north, the way I'm pointing there. I'm just joking. So we now have 5 degrees extra warmth. Now Gary's claimed recently that the heat makes the clay go soft. Press my thumb in that, trying to, you can see my thumb knuckles going white with pressing it. And that's the best I can do. That you can't even see it, can you? That's where I've just pressed. My knuckles were going white and it's barely indented it a millimetre or two at best. That's how hard this is. The medium one now. So I'll press the same here. The medium one. Oh, well, you can see that straight away. The medium one went in easy. Yes, okay, quite easy. The soft. Okay. Well, you can see how soft it is. I suppose if I flatten the soft stuff again. Okay, start with the softest. Quite a process. It takes quite a while, but just give you an idea. It's not a fun job. Okay. I forgot to remove the notice saying it was at 20 degrees C. Obviously, it's more like 25, 26 degrees C now. So, move that there for a moment. Right, so that now makes that the correct height for my piano lid, which has served as my guide. Just to show you that before I move the camera. Remember, it's 1.4 meters. So 1.4 meters from that height, from that top edge, a drop. Then a quarter of that, which is 350 millimeters, and that floppy piece of cardboard has just helped me so I know where it's going. That offers no resistance to a lead ball. Right, so you can see 1.4 meters. So here is one of the lead weights, which is 2.3 kilos, which is 4 times the weight of just one lead ball. So I confirm the weight again. Why not? So there you go. 574 as stated. And the other one, the big one, 2.306. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so I dropped the lightweight one from the highest thing, and then I quadrupled the mass, then dropped that from a quarter of the height. Let's hope I hit the clay in there right. Well, that was quite a good hit. That wasn't a bad hit, was it? Oh yeah, and the usual. Let me put it back in there. Fell out, so just pop it back in. Hold it. Maybe I can just lift it up to show you what I mean. You can see how it spoils the hole a bit. Plus, because it's falling at the hole like that, I think it's widening the hole a bit, and that's why we have about 5 millilitres extra volume displaced. And sometimes I have to twist it to get it out of the hole, and that tends to scrape off more clay than off the other one. You end up with clay on the surface that you don't have on the other, that it's taken out of the hole. So I think that's why it's getting quite exaggerated results from this. Don't get that so much with that, you know, because not as much clay sticks to that. Well, you can see, can't you? You can still read the writing on it. I'm going to fill these with milk, you know, to compare the depths. I meant to say the volume, not the depth, the volume. Actually, I suppose a quick comparison, a quick way of comparing it. If I just temporarily put this in that hole, just so you can see, you can compare the depth then, can't you? You don't even need me to measure with milk, do you? You can see already they've gone to exactly the same depth, haven't they? They've gone to exactly the same depth. So in other words, even by Gary's rule, Gary knows that that is 4 times the energy, because all we've done is we've multiplied the mass times 4. So we know that that was 4 times the energy. So now I need to drop, so it's dropping the same weight again, one of these, from 1/4 of the height. So that will be half the velocity. In other words, the hole that makes from this height and this height should be 1/4 of the displacement. See, the experiment I've done here with these two drops, the experiment I've done here is just to verify that clay is a good measure of energy, because this is a good measure of energy even by Gary's standards. 4 times mass is an accurate measure of 4 times the energy of one of these, even by Gary's standards, because I've just multiplied the weight 4 times, yes? Even Gary would agree with that. Right, that went okay, didn't it then? Okay, so there we go. That one is going to be 1/4 of the volume of that. So from 1/4 of the height of that, and then 1/4 of the mass of that, okay? From the same height, okay? So those two are from the same height. I've just multiplied the mass by 4 there. I got it written down on little strips of paper from a month ago. So I said, oops, soft, because I thought this was the medium one, and I got mixed up. The first hole was 14 milliliters. Next one, 21 milliliters. What's that all about? As I've said before on a different experiment, same principle. I think it's when I had to twist this out to get it out because it was stuck in, and I think a bit of extra clay stuck to the surface, and that widened the hole a bit. So it's added a few milliliters to that volume. The 4 mass, 2.3 kilograms, which we know has 4 times the energy, dropped from 350 millimeters also. That displaced 21 milliliters. Yeah, 10, another 10, 20. It's on 9, so that's 21 milliliters. I've realised that what's happening with this, because it's going deeper into the soft clay, it's not going much deeper, but because it's going deeper, I'm having to twist it to get it out, and therefore more clay sticks on this than it does on the other one. If you look at the mark of the wet clay of the 2.4 kilogram one, and let's look at the one. It's just a bit more difficult to see. And what I've not realised yet at this point in time is biased in favour of mass. It's behaving like a non-Newtonian fluid. Now that wasn't in Gary's prediction, was it? Otherwise it wouldn't make sense that sometimes it comes out virtually exactly the same, just a tad little bit more. And the other one was 3.5 milliliters. 14 milliliters, 21 milliliters. Can the camera see it's on 10? So how many milliliters that holds and stuff? It's about to overflow, so it's on just below the 6 mark, so about 3 3/4, 3.75. So maybe it's increased on the previous measurement of 3.5, just that tiny little bit. The temperature, I said 25.75 degrees C, and the other one was at 20.37 degrees C last. Yeah, I'm writing down all the information I can. 3.5 milliliters last time, a month ago, at 20.37 degrees C. 3.75 at 25.75 degrees C. Do this one now. Hole number 1. Got that bob on 10 milliliters. So see how many milliliters this holds now. Well, it holds 10 for a start. So I fill it to 10 again. It's exactly in line with the edge of the piston. Fill it up till it's almost overflowing. Just about trying to overflow there, and we're on 5. Yes, so we've used up, that's 15 in total then, isn't it? 15 milliliters at 25.75. C, okay. So it was perfectly in line last time, wasn't it? Yeah, the previous one. Yeah, so an extra quarter of a millimetre times 4, that accounts for the extra 1 there, doesn't it? Yeah, so it's still bob on, isn't it? So 3.75 times 4 is 15, isn't it? Yeah. So now all that remains is to do the hole that made, the 4 times mass. At a glance, it looked an identical depth hole, didn't it? But the last time, it suggested that one actually went deeper. In other words, Clay favoured mass. The exact opposite of what Gary claims. It didn't favour speed. It behaves like this is cornstarch to a degree. So when Gary talks about adding cornstarch to clay, no need. Clay already behaves as if it's cornstarch. You can see from there it favours heavy mass from a low speed than a light mass from a high speed. That's the exact opposite of what Gary claims. So now let's just see how much we can get in that hole. That's what she said. So again, we're trying to get it on the 10 mark, and I think it already is there. See how much we get in there. Obviously 10 went in easy enough. 10 mark again. You can see it's just past the 10 mark there, so I'll squeeze a bit out. Bob on 10, yes. Okay. It's not up that top edge yet there. So that's about it really. I think. Ow! Bang head on the desk. So I was trying to look and move that glass of milk out of the way. Turn it around so you can see from a different angle. That's about right still. That one, 20 millilitres, 25.75 degrees C. I'm glad I kept this note. 20 millilitres. Okay, so that's gone down a little bit. See, it's gone mouldy since last time again, hasn't it? But so I need to clean my clay up there, don't I? You just wonder what accidental discovery you could make from it. I've accidentally discovered what a boring life it is doing science no else wants to do. So we should be in admiration of people like Gravesande and du Chatelet, and we should be in admiration of all the people who could be bothered doing these things that Gary now denies. Thank God there have been people willing to do these tests, that otherwise we wouldn't know the real outcome. We would all be trusting idiots like Gary. Right, so let's see if I can get that glass that way. Well, it's not too bad, is it? If I mark that with an X. Okay. So that X marks that one, right? Then we do the same thing from, I'll turn it over. Do it now from 4 times the height. Okay. So I'll lift the camera back up. Tilt the camera down so you can see the result. Right, so this is where I've got a bit mixed up. This is the first hole I made in the hard clay. You can see what that is there, can't you? That was the first hole I made in the clay. Okay, right, that one. And I never actually got around to measuring that one, did I? So I need to measure that one now. Because I got confused over what I did, because then the next hole I made was... Covered that up, didn't I? Yeah. This is the one where I did it from. With the 4 times weight. Ooh, that was the one that came out at... Bounced a bit too much, didn't it there? So that's the one that came out at 3.75 millilitres, yes. And I never actually got around to measuring the one that's underneath the polystyrene now, did I? 1, 2, and I covered them up. Then I covered up and I did a third one. I know, yes, it's this one coming up now that's going to measure, isn't it? I need to be dropping it from a little bit lower than that, really. Oh, that was a really good hit. That was a good hit, that one, okay. That's the one I used. That's the one I used to measure. 3.7. I never got around to measuring the one at the bottom of the screen, number 1. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to write these down. I got a bit mixed up over which hole was which on that last test. That one there, mark there, it says number 1 there. I've replayed the video, and that was number 1 I did with that ball from 4 times the height, 1.4 meters. So I need to measure that. I forgot about that. That's when I covered it up with polystyrene. Did another one, did that one there. This is the important one. I didn't get around to measuring number 1. I did number 3, mark there, number 3, and that was a good hit, and I measured that. That's the one that came out at 3.75 milliliters, but it actually was made with that one. It wasn't made with that one. It was made with that one, okay, from a quarter of the height, and that's when it came out at 3.75 milliliters. So I need to write this out again, this last bit. I never actually got around to measuring the proper one of that from 4 times the height. I forgot because I got confused in my old age. I did measure the other one, the little dent one, which came out at about 1.25. Yeah, we're on the 10 mark, okay. With that hole, I tilt it that way a little bit because it's not quite level, is it? We're there now. Oops. So bob on 6 there, bob on 6. We displaced 4, haven't we? That's exactly the same as that came out, 4 milliliters. When I repeated that from, wasn't 5, for that I've had 3.75 and also 4. Exactly the same as the 4 from here, of that from 4 times the height. So these are coming out exactly the same. Exactly the same. In hard clay. In soft clay, that has the advantage. The heavy, slow one has the advantage over the fast, light one. Do you remember? Because in that case, in soft clay, the fast, light one penetrated less than the slow, heavy one. In other words, clay was giving that the advantage. Exactly the opposite of what Gary was claiming. In other words, this was behaving like non-Newtonian fluid. This was behaving like cornstarch. Then we do cover that up so I don't accidentally damage it. I'll cover it. Ooh, try another one. 1, 2, and cover them up. My finger's depth difference in height there, so I need to be dropping it from a little bit lower than that, really. Oh, that was a really good hit. That was a good hit, that one, okay. Number 3. Now, what did we have for this last time? For the hard? 20.34 degrees C. At 20.34 degrees C, we had hole number 1 was 5.4 milliliters, and number 2 was 5.5 milliliters, and that was 4 times the mass. That was 2.306 to be accurate, at 350 millimeters. I mean. I'm looking at the previous recording on the screen so I can copy these details out. And 3, the small hole, that was between 1.3 and 1.4 as best I could measure. Oh yeah, that was 574 grams, 150 millimeters again. That worked out perfectly. If you round that up 1.35, if you call it an average of 1.35, equals quarter of 5.4. A month later, at a different temperature, 25.72 degrees C, bob on the 10 mark. So I'll get the camera in a bit closer because you want to see better than this, don't you? You want to see us. Because these holes are shallower, it's harder to get. Try and fill them to the point where they're just about to overflow from that. Obviously we have the skin effect, don't we? So from the side, you see from a sideways angle. And can't put any more than that, can I? That's all I'm saying. You can't see the edges of the thing. The measurement of that was, it's on 6 1/4. 3.75 again, isn't it? Hang on, is that right? Right, that's 3.75. I was expecting that to be more because the clay is warmer. It should have been deeper because the clay is warmer. If anything, it's the opposite. I'm confused now about what I've done here. So, trying to get one that doesn't bounce because it makes the hole harder to measure. Let me measure that anyway on 10 milliliters. I think that's a fair representation, and we're on exactly 9. That's it. It's just gone past 9, hasn't it? So, can you see what measurement is that? So about 1.5, isn't it? It's difficult to measure, isn't it? 1 1/4, isn't it? It's 1 1/4, isn't it? Yeah. 574 grams at same height, 315 millimeters. So 4 and 1.25, so that's quadruple it. That should have been 5.5. It would be bob and 5, wouldn't it? Yeah, bob and 5. So now, that wasn't bad, was it? That was okay. That was a good hit. Didn't spoil the hole. That's what I mean. So we use. Yeah, any more than that, it'll be overflowing. Oh, sorry, I'm not showing you the measure. What was the measure? On 6 at the moment, isn't it? So that means I've used 4. 4. I need to play back this recording now just to check that I've not got mixed up which is which here. Because I'm tired, it's early in the morning. It is easy to make a mistake. 4. So we had 3.75, 4, and 1.25 as best we can measure it. See, these are difficult to measure, especially because it bounces in clay, and because this surface is a little bit bouncy. I'm not going to bother with the medium clay because we've got enough. We've got the two extremes. They're very soft and they're very hard. Okay, that's all very hard clay, and there's the record. Okay, thank you for watching, but I don't think many people will, so the rare person who really has watched and paid attention, I do thank you. It's hard work, this is, because Gary never does any of this. He doesn't appreciate how hard work it is, and all he does is go around calling me and Dispar and